Let's tap this morning about vulnerability. It's a gift, it's a strength, it changes lives, and it is the art of leaving your defenses and entering your heart, and then being able to use words to articulate what's going on in there. And many of us have had childhoods where it just wasn't safe, and we were betrayed or punished for being in our hearts and revealing our authentic feelings and letting people know that we're scared or we're touched, all of that. So, and of course, it's not just childhood. You may have had all kinds of experiences in your life where you opened your heart and you were vulnerable, and it led to some kind of pain, betrayal, trauma, or just the hurt of having people judge your vulnerability. And well, I hope that this video can help you find the courage to be more vulnerable and find the wisdom to know when it's not really appropriate. You know, when you're with people who will judge or shame your vulnerability, and to just be contain that energy and don't cast your pearls before swine. I think Jesus said that. So let's do some tapping. Even though it's scary for me to be vulnerable, I choose to love and accept myself. Even though I've tried being vulnerable and it has led to pain and heartache, I choose to love and honor myself. Even though part of me just can't see any reason why I would even want to be vulnerable. I've been taught it's a weakness. I've been taught to avoid it at all costs. And that's just my programming. I'm open to challenging it, getting to the other side. And either way, when I'm vulnerable or when I'm guarded and defensive, either way, I choose to love, honor, and accept myself just the way I am. All these fears about being vulnerable, all these past associations with hurt and vulnerability. It doesn't feel safe to be vulnerable. And I don't know if I can trust myself when it is appropriate to be vulnerable, when it is safe. Because of all my negative experiences in the past, with all of my experiments with vulnerability and how many of them failed, it doesn't feel safe. So part of me would just rather avoid the subject and just keep going about my merry way, guarded and defensive. But then I feel the pang of loneliness. I feel the alienation of no one gets me. No one gets me. And it's not because I'm bad or stupid, and it's not because they're doing something wrong. It's just that I've learned to place layers of protection around my true self and my vulnerability. So when I don't allow myself to get me and to feel me, I won't allow others to do that as well. So maybe, just maybe, I am willing and ready to face my fears of vulnerability. to put my toe in the water, or maybe even my whole body, and trust that I'll get used to it. It may be a bit of a shock to my system, just like jumping into a cold pool of water, and then you swim around and your body adjusts and you just start to feel comfortable. And I choose to trust that I am going to eventually feel comfortable being vulnerable. I choose to trust that it's okay to be uncomfortable while I am coming into new territory. It's okay to be scared while I'm taking risks. And it's safe to take risks with my vulnerability. Maybe it wasn't so safe in the past, but now I can trust that I can cope and process feelings of hurt and disappointment. If my vulnerability isn't received the way I would hope it would be, I can self-soothe. I can pick myself up, dust myself off, and praise myself for the risk of being vulnerable. It's not so much, it has to work. It's not a strategy that has to work. It's just the beauty and the joy of opening my heart and letting people in and revealing what I'm really feeling. It's its own reward to be vulnerable. If people appreciate it, that's icing on the cake. And if they don't, well, I'm learning all the time who and when to experiment with my vulnerability. So any feedback I get is valuable. Trusting that I can process the hurt that may come up, that when my vulnerability is not well received, it's okay. I know how to cry. I know how to go from hurt to peace. I know how to process and resolve these feelings. And if I don't, well, I'm here to learn. Here on campus Earth, I am willing to learn the art and beauty of vulnerability. Softening my defenses. Dropping my pretenses. And allowing myself to simply check in with what am I feeling? And being willing to be revealing of what I'm feeling. Not with everyone. I am learning discernment around vulnerability. And I feel less lonely and more excited about life each time I take a risk with my vulnerability. It's like I'm having a love affair with my own willingness to be vulnerable. I don't need anyone else to be part of this love affair. This is between me and my heart and my voice. It's my love affair with myself. Falling in love with myself and my willingness to be vulnerable. Giving myself lots of pats on the back and self-praise and approval and appreciation for my ever-increasing willingness to experiment with my vulnerability and to learn once and for all, that it's safe to be vulnerable. in body, mind, and spirit. I just wish you the best time on this journey of learning to be authentic and vulnerable. And just know that if you need or want any support, my greatest joy is to meet with people virtually and support them in private sessions. Have a wonderful day and take care of your heart.